All right, so we're ready to get started. And we're going to do a few low lunges. Probably, sorry, I should have told you that a couple minutes ago. If you need anything for your knees that you don't have there, just go ahead and grab it. And today we're going to start sitting down, comfortable cross-legged position. And we will start with our eyes closed. Or you can just close them partway. Start to settle into your body. Maybe start to notice your breath. Scan your body. Notice if you've got anything that's feeling a bit tight. Maybe you're holding a bit of tension. I'm just going to read something while you're sitting here with your eyes closed. This is by Cleo Wade, and it's called Being and Becoming. And it says, be who you are, be who you want to be, and make those things the same thing. Arrive in the world each day embracing yourself. So maybe as we move through today's practice, you can think about embracing the poses, where your body is today with the poses, and just sort of accepting things as they are. We'll start to gently open our eyes, a soft gaze. We're going to begin with some alternate nostril breathing. So for those of you who aren't familiar, we'll use your thumb and your ring finger or pinky, whichever you're comfortable with. So you can lower your pointer and your middle finger. And what we're going to do is we'll start by using the thumb to close the right nostril. We'll inhale through the left nostril, hold at the top, switch our fingers so the ring finger is blocking your left nostril. Exhale through the right, pause, and then switch back again. So when you're ready, you can go at your own pace or you can go with me. So closing the right nostril, inhale through the left. Pausing at the top, we'll switch fingers, and then exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Pausing at the top, switching fingers again, thumb blocks the right nostril, exhale through the left. Pause after your exhalation. Inhale through the left nostril. Pausing at the top, switch fingers and exhale through the right. And you can continue this at your own pace for another minute. This is a nice cleansing breath that helps to even out our yin and yang, our cooling and our heating sides. And it's a nice way to center ourselves before our practice today. And we'll finish with an exhale on the left side. Keep ourselves nice and cool, relaxed before the practice. Now we're going to place our hands on our solar plexus. They're just below our ribs, both of them together. And then we'll inhale our arms up and open, palms facing forward. Bring them together at the top, pull them down into prayer as we curve inwards, making a small curve in your spine. A few times we'll do that, bringing your hands back to your body. Inhale them again, facing forward, pressing the palms together, pulling them down your center line, curving in. Palms back together on your body. Inhale again one more time, up, pulling the palms down your center line. Exhale as we curve forward. And then we're going to interlace our thumbs. So you can go right over left, left over right, whichever you'd like. Inhale, and we'll pull them straight up. Nice and tall, long spine, stretching out those vertebrae. Maybe give a wiggle to your sides. And then we're going to lower the left hand. So left hand down to the mat, right hand stays up, reaching gently over to the side. You can have your hand flat on the mat or on top of, fingertips as well, whichever is more comfortable for you. And then we'll take another inhale and see if you can lift that chest just a little bit further towards the ceiling. And from here, you might be able to lower the right hand behind your head just to open that chest a little bit more. A slight twist in your lower back. Coming back to center, then we'll switch sides. Right hand comes down to the mat, left hand sweeps up and over. First, stretching out those ribs in our side. Then another inhale, see if we can open that chest to the side just a little bit, maybe with your arm behind your head. Coming back to center, good. We're going to interlace our fingers one more time, see if you can remember which thumbs you put over top and switch this time. Inhale them nice and long overhead. Maybe lifting your gaze. And then exhale, we'll bring the arms back down to the sides. And then we're going to come into a tabletop pose. So come on over. Checking your alignment, knees below hips, hands below shoulders, our fingers are spread wide. Tops of the feet are pushing into the mat. And from here, we'll take a few cat and cows. So you can do these at your own pace or flow with me. Firstly, we'll inhale, lift your tailbone, lift your chest, drop your belly, maybe lift your gaze, and then exhale, you're pushing into the mat with your hands, curling your spine, tucking the tailbone, chin tucks in. Switching as we move with our breath. Inhale, lifting the chest, dropping the belly. Exhale, curving that spine, tucking the tailbone. Inhale. And feel free to wiggle your hips in any way that you feel like they might need, moving side to side as we move through these cat and cows. And then we'll settle into a neutral tabletop pose. We're going to tuck our toes, pushing back into our first downward facing dog for today. So when you're ready, tuck those toes, lift your tailbone. Fingers are spread wide. Maybe walk those legs out, bending the knees one at a time, wiggling your hips. Maybe you'll shift your weight forward and then push back. Maybe bend the knees. Just give everything a nice good stretch. Then from here, we're going to look forward between our hands, step our right foot forward, our left to meet our right, forward fold. From here, we'll very slowly rise up, bringing our hands to our heart center. And then at the top of the mat, feet are about hip width apart. We're going to inhale, reaching your arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then we're going to place our hands down on the mat, step that left foot back. We're coming into a low lunge. So we'll lower the left knee down to the mat. Any padding that you might need. rise up, hands come up overhead. And see with your hands overhead if you can sort of let those shoulders fall away from your ears. Maybe you can feel your shoulder blades pulling down your back just a little bit. We're going to shift our weight backwards, straighten that front right leg. Arms come down to the mat, hands either side of your right leg as we fold over. Breathing here. We'll start to shift our weight forward. Place your hands either side of that front foot. We're coming back into a downward facing dog. So lift that left knee just a little bit, push the right foot back, downward facing dog. From here, we're going to look forward between your hands, step your left foot forward, your right to meet your left, and forward fold. Rising up very slowly. We'll bring our hands to our heart center. Take a moment here. And then again, inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold, leading with your chest. Inhale, halfway lift, stepping our right leg back for a low lunge. Right knee to the mat, untuck those toes. Sweep those arms up overhead. Check that your hips are square to the front of the mat. One more breath here. Then we'll shift our weight backwards, straightening that front left leg, hands either side of the left leg as we fold over. Nice stretch in our hamstring here. Then again, we'll shift our weight forward, coming back into a downward facing dog. So planting your hands either side of that left foot, and we'll push back, downward facing dog. Looking forward between your hands. Let's step that right foot forward, the left to meet your right. Forward fold. Inhale, rising up slowly. We'll bring our hands to our heart center. Similar flow, inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Low lunge, stepping our left foot back. Left knee down to the mat. Untuck those toes. Rising up. See if you can sink a little bit deeper into your lunge this time. Not forgetting our shoulders while we're here. Again, we're going to fold over that right leg. So as we start to straighten the right leg, lean forward, hands either side of the leg, folding down. We want to be leading with our chest, trying to keep our spine straight while we're here. And this time, as we start to shift our weight forward, we're going to come up into a high lunge. So shift your weight forward onto that right foot, tuck those left toes, push yourself up. You can bring your hands to your hips, check that they're squared to the front of the mat, and then we'll bring them up and overhead. One more breath here. This time we're going to place our hands either side of our right foot, step the right foot back to a high plank. And we're going to take our first vinyasa for today. So you can lower knees, chest, chin, or take a chaturanga. It's up to you. I'm going to lower knees, tucking in my elbows, chest, chin. I'm tucking the toes, baby cobra, and we'll meet in a downward facing dog. Looking forward between your hands, let's step that left foot forward, the right to meet your left, and forward fold. Inhale, rising up slowly, bringing our hands to our heart center. Great job. Then let's switch other side. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. This time the right leg goes back, right knee down to the mat. Untuck those toes, rising up for a low lunge. Good stuff. Folding over that front left leg as we start to straighten it, hands come other side. Folding over, leading with your chest. One more breath here. Then we're going to come into a high lunge. So we shift our weight forward onto that left foot. Tuck those right toes, pushing up, hands to your waist if you'd like to check your hips, then arms up and overhead. Nice strong legs. Last breath here. The exhale, we'll place our hands either side of that left foot, stepping back to high plank. Take a vinyasa or knees, chest, chin. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. And anytime we're taking a vinyasa, you can just go straight to downward facing dog if that's what you feel your body needs today. Looking forward between your hands, let's step that right foot forward, left to meet the right, forward fold. Inhale, rising up slowly, bringing your hands to your heart center. So we're going to do that exact same sequence one more time. When you're ready, inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Step that left leg back for a low lunge. Arms rise up. I'm going to move a little bit faster this time. Shifting that weight backwards as we fold over the right leg. Coming into a high lunge, shift that weight forwards onto the right foot, tuck those left toes. Lift yourself up, arms overhead. High lunge. Hands either side of your right foot, we're stepping back to a high plank for vinyasa. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Breathing here. Then let's look forward between our hands, step the left foot forward this time, the right to meet the left, forward fold. Inhale, rising up slowly, bringing your hands to your heart center. Other side now, inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let's step that right leg back, low lunge. Rising up. Great job. Arms are long. As we lean forward, check that you can see that left big toe, not letting our knee fall inwards. We're going to fold over that front leg, shift our weight backwards, lift those left toes. One more breath here, and then we'll shift that weight forward, coming into a high lunge. Tuck those back right toes, rising up. Great job. And we'll take our vinyasa. So place the hands either side of that left foot, step back to a high plank, and then meet in downward facing dog. One more breath here, and then we'll start to walk the hands in towards our feet. So hands are walking backwards one at a time. We're at the back of our mat. Let's grab a hold of our elbows. Bend your knees if you'd like. Just let the weight of your arms and your upper body pull you forward, a gentle stretch. Also a place for us to catch our breath. Maybe do another quick scan of your body. See if anything's feeling different now. You might want to sway your elbows side to side. Maybe shake your head no. Just a little stretch for our neck. We're going to slowly release those elbows and start to walk our hands back forward into downward facing dog. And from here, we're going to lift the right leg up to the sky for a three-legged dog, nice and long, leg is straight. Bring it forward, place it between our hands. We're coming into a low lunge again. So that left knee will come down to the mat. Untuck those toes. This time as we rise up, we're going to interlace our thumbs and sweep them up and overhead. And don't forget to breathe while we're here. We're going to release those thumbs. Start to shift our weight forward. You might like to place your hands on the mat. We're going to rise up into a high lunge. So we'll first tuck those left back toes, maybe hop that in a step. Rise up, high lunge. One breath here. And then we'll shift our weight forward into Dekasana. So might need to hop that foot one more step forward, shifting our weight even further forward, fully onto that standing right leg. Left leg is reaching back, hips are square down to the mat, and arms are reaching out behind us, fingertips spread. One more breath here. That leg has got you. It's nice and strong. If you fell out of the pose, just come back into it. Falling back into a high lunge. Then we're going to open up into warrior two. So we'll rotate that back left foot, equally pressing the outside and inside edge of the foot onto the mat, checking your alignment. Right heel should be in line with the instep of your left foot. We'll open our arms, reaching equally forwards and back. And as you bend that right knee, just check that you can see the big toe there too, that your knee's not falling inwards. Breathing here as we look out over our right fingertips. Straighten that front right leg, then we'll rotate that foot to the side of our mat. We're coming into a goddess pose facing the side of your mat. So both feet are on a 45-degree angle. We'll bend our knees, cactus our arms for this one. Imagine that you're sitting on a ledge, just bending into a place that feels comfortable for your legs today. One more breath here. You've got this. Nice and strong. Let's straighten those legs and we'll come back to warrior two. So rotating your feet back. Let's windmill those arms open. Warrior two. Checking our alignment. From here, we're going to reverse our warrior. So left hand sweeps back down the left leg. Right hand sweeps up and over. Lifting our chest to the sky if we can, while still bending into that front knee. Great job. We're going to come back to a high lunge. So we'll bring that right arm back forward as we twist on that back left foot, hands to our hips. And when we're steady, we've got our balance. We're going to see if we can come into a twist here. So bringing your hands into prayer pose, we're going to start to twist our upper body, leading with your lower spine, turning your chest towards the side, and then hooking that left elbow onto that right knee if you can, without pulling the knee inwards. Great job. We'll slowly come back to center. Place those hands either side of your right foot. Step back to a plank, and we'll either take a vinyasa or you can head straight to downward facing dog. Breathing here, using this downward facing dog as a resting pose almost, a place to catch your breath. Maybe take an inhale and a nice big sigh, exhale. From here, we'll lift the left leg up, nice and long, three-legged dog. Looking forward, we'll place it between your hands, lowering into a low lunge on this side. Untuck those toes, interlacing your fingers, switching thumbs if you can remember which one you did last time. If not, don't worry. Arms up and overhead. Great job. Last breath, and we're going to come up into a high lunge. So you can let go of those fingers, maybe bringing your hands to your hips. Tuck those right toes, rising up. You might need to hop that foot in a step. Hands up and overhead. One more breath here, and then we'll come on to Dekasana. So starting to shift our weight further forward, we sweep our hands behind, maybe jump that foot in a step as we lift it up. Hips are squared, hands are reaching back, fingers spread wide. Great work. One more breath here. And we'll come into warrior two. So letting that right leg fall back down to the mat, opening it so that it's parallel to the mat. Check your alignment. And when you're ready, we'll windmill our arms open. Gentle gaze out over those left fingers. Breathing here. Your legs are strong, they've got you. Let's go ahead and straighten that left leg, coming into goddess pose. Again, let's rotate both of our feet to the side of the mat, 45-degree angle. Bend our knees. And again, let's cactus those arms. Sitting on our imaginary ledge. Very slowly start to straighten those legs. We'll come back into warrior two. Rotate those feet, windmill the arms open. Good work. And from here, we're going to reverse our warrior. So right hand comes down the back of the right leg. Rotate that left hand up, sweep it overhead. Reverse warrior. Lifting your chest to the ceiling. Last breath. Start to rise up, bringing that left hand forward, rotating into a high lunge on this side. So let's place your hands on your hips if you'd like to. Rotate that back right leg to face the front. Then we'll come into our twist. So hands to prayer in front of us. Slowly start to rotate. And this may be your pose. You may just have a gentle twist. Or you may be able to reach that knee, like I said, down to the knee. Sorry, the elbow down to the knee and hook it on there. Then use that to twist, as long as you're not pushing your knee inwards. Breathing here. Last breath, we'll come back to center. Place your hands either side of that left foot. Step back into a high plank. And we'll take a vinyasa or meet in downward facing dog. And then from here, we're going to come into a wide-legged child's pose. So let's lower those knees as wide as the mat. And we'll slowly start to push those sit bones back towards our heels in a place that's comfortable for you. See if you can lower your forehead to the mat, or if not, create a stack with your hands. Maybe one on top of each other, hands on top of each other. Just a place to rest your neck, a connection for your forehead. And again, over here, maybe let's scan our body. Check in, see if we're being graceful with ourselves. And then we're going to slowly start to rise back up, very slow. Let's bring our hands back out in front of us. And we'll come into downward facing dog. So when you're ready, fingers are spread wide, index fingers pointing forward. Let's lift that tailbone. Maybe give your legs a bit of a wiggle while we're here. And then from here, we're going to lift into a three-legged dog. So right leg comes up long to the sky. This time we're going to bend the knee. And if you'd like, and you've got space wherever you're practicing today, you can drop back into Wild Thing. So that means we'll let that right leg fall out behind us. Left hand stays on the mat. Right hand shoots up to the sky. And if you don't have space or you're not comfortable with this, then feel free just to stay in a three-legged dog pose, but with that knee bent, see if you can open that hip just a little bit while we're here. If you're in Wild Thing, let's push back up into a three-legged dog. Straighten that knee. And then we'll bring it forward, place it between your hands. We're coming into a low lunge again. Left knee down to the mat, and we rise up. This time we'll pull our hands down into prayer pose. We're going to see if we can push up into a high lunge here. If you need, go ahead and place your hands on your hips, but we'll tuck those left toes. Start to use your quads, push ourselves into a high lunge. Then we're going to come into a twist again. Again, that may just be twisting your spine. You may be able to hook that left elbow onto the right knee. Coming back to center, high lunge. And then we're going to rotate from here into goddess pose again. So rotate that back left leg, maybe wiggle them in a little bit. Both are on a 45-degree angle. This time we'll bring our hands to prayer as we lower down, bending those knees. Breathing. You've got this. And then while we're here, we'll see if it's in your practice, if you'd like, we can lower into Malasana. So we're going to bend those knees even more, maybe walking those heels in just a little bit as we lower into a squat. If this isn't comfortable for you, you may be able just to walk your legs in and bend a little bit further forward. From here, we'll place our left hand on the mat, sweep the right arm up and over for a slight twist here. One more breath, bringing your hands back to center. And we'll switch sides, right hand to the mat, left hand sweeps up and open. Bringing those hands back to center, we'll rotate our feet back to the front of the mat as we rise up. From here, then we'll place our hands either side of the right foot, stepping back into a high plank to take a vinyasa. Or we'll meet in downward facing dog. From here, we're going to inhale that left leg nice and long, bending the knee open towards the left side. Sorry, opening up the left toward the left side. You can drop back into Wild Thing here if you'd like, letting that, if you've got space, let that left leg fall back behind you, left arm up towards the sky. That right arm's got you, it's nice and strong. Back into a three-legged dog, left hand comes down to the mat, left leg back, knee is bent. Then we'll straighten that leg, bring it forward, place it on the mat, lowering into low lunge. So right knee down to the mat. Arms reaching up towards the sky. And then again, we'll bring our hands down to prayer, tucking those right toes. See if you can rise up for a high lunge. And when you're ready again, we'll see if we can twist. Twisting that spine, maybe hooking that right elbow onto the left knee. And if you lose your balance, like I am a little bit, that's okay. Just come back and find your pose again. Now we're gonna slowly rise up and come into goddess. Again, rotating those feet, opposite side of the mat, walking them in a little bit, 45-degree angle, lowering to a squat, hands in prayer. Almost there. Walk those heels in just a little bit further as we lower from Malasana. Again, here, left hand down to the mat in front of you. Right arm sweeps up towards the ceiling. Right hand comes back down to center. Lowers to the mat. Left hand sweeps up toward the ceiling. Left hand down towards the mat. We'll rotate back towards the front of our mat. Placing your hands either side of that foot, step back to a high plank. Take a vinyasa, or we'll meet in downward facing dog. And then from here again, we're going to come into a wide-legged child's pose. Knees wide, pushing that tailbone back. Again, seeing if you can find a connection for your forehead to the mat. Then we're going to come up into a tabletop, so very slowly rising up. Bring those knees together, checking your alignment, wrists below shoulders, knees below hips. And we are going to thread the needle while we're here. So that's going to be a right hand sweeping up towards the right side of your space. And then we'll swoop it back and under that left arm. And then as we come down, see if you can get yourself onto your right shoulder. You can walk the left hand forward or out to the side. Or maybe you'd like to bring it around for a bind behind your back, grabbing a hold or resting on your lower back or grabbing a hold of your right hip. So right shoulder and side of your head are resting on the mat if you can. If you've got that hand behind you, let's bring it back. Left hand back. Maybe make a cone with your fingertips. See if you can push yourself up gently. Start to feed that right arm back through. Again, sweeping it up towards the ceiling and bringing it back down to the mat for tabletop. And then we'll switch sides. So inhale that left arm nice and long up towards the left side. Swoop it back down underneath that right arm. Coming up onto your left shoulder, left side of your head on the mat. And then either walking those fingertips forward or possibly sweeping your hand to your lower back or your hip for a bind. Breathing here, seeing if we can slow our breath just a little. And if you've got that right hand bound, we'll bring it back over, fingertips down to the mat, and slowly start to unthread that left arm, sweeping it back up and open and down to the mat for tabletop. And while we're here, we're just going to do a couple cat and cows, just checking in on our spine. You can go at your own pace or move with me if you'd like. So inhaling, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly. Exhale, pushing into the hands, curving the spine. coming to a neutral table. We're just gonna have a lion's breath here, which is we'll inhale and then exhale with our tongues out. It's a nice cleansing breath. So let's take a big inhale and then exhale. We'll tuck our toes, lift our tailbones, pushing back into a downward facing dog. Looking forward between your hands, we'll step the right foot forward, the left to meet your right, forward fold. And as we slowly start to rise up, we're actually going to come into a chair pose. So we'll rise about halfway up, bend those legs, sweep those arms up and overhead. And for some of us who might not be as familiar with chair pose, you want to imagine that you're sitting on a ledge. Your core is engaged. Arms are reaching up over and head. See if you can lift those big toes, all the toes even actually, if you can. If you can't, see if you can shift your weight back just a little bit to lift those toes. Then you know that you're sitting in a good place. And then we'll forward fold. Hanging out here for a minute to maybe give those legs a bit of a wiggle. We're going to rise up into chair again, so slowly coming into a half lift, rising up to chair. This time we're going to interlace our thumbs. Interlace those thumbs, lift them up and overhead. Check your positioning, see if you can lift those toes. 2 more breaths while we're here. See if you can sit just a little bit lower. Straighten the legs and fold forward. Let's see if we can keep our fingers interlaced, coming down to the mat. Place the left hand in the center of the mat between your, sort of like in the middle of your big toes here. Just a slight twist. We'll lift our right arm, sweep it up to the side, bending that left knee as we lift the right arm up. Coming back down to center, switching sides. Right hand comes down to the mat between those toes, almost in front. Sweeping the left arm up and open. Bend that right knee if you need to. Coming back down to center. And then very, very slowly, because we've been folded over, we're going to rise up. So just going as slow as you possibly can. Giving everything a bit of a shake while you're here. Last vinyasas for today. Feel free to flow with me, or once we fold over, you can go straight to downward facing dog. Inhaling those arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. If we're flowing, we step back to a high plank, otherwise straight to downward facing dog. We'll lift that right leg up for a 3-legged dog. Bring it forward, place it between your hands, coming into a high lunge. Interlacing your fingers for this. Fingers are interlaced above your head. Then we're going to open those arms to cactus arms. You've got it, almost there. One more lion's breath here. So inhale through your nose. Exhale, sticking your tongue out. Nice cleansing breath. Lifting those fingers back up and overhead. Interlaced thumbs. Then we'll bring our hands down to the mat either side of that right foot, stepping back into a high plank. We'll take a vinyasa, or you can go straight to downward facing dog. You've got it. Last vinyasa for today. Inhale that left leg up towards the sky. Bring it forward, place it between your hands, coming into high lunge. Left side. If you can remember which thumb, switch fingers this time. Breathing here, let's open to cactus arms. One last lion's breath. Inhale through your nose. Exhale with the tongue out. Interlace those fingers back up and overhead. I lied, last vinyasa this time, sorry. Hands either side of that left foot. You can just head straight to downward facing dog. Or take the vinyasa. From here, we're gonna lower our knees down to the mat. And then you can let your hips fall out to either the left or right side. We're coming in to a seated pose. So once you lower down, we'll swing those legs out around in front of us. Bring the soles of our feet together. Butterfly pose. Check that you're sitting nice and tall. Taking a moment here, closing your eyes. Let's slow our breath. We'll slowly start to open our eyes. We're going to fold forward while we're here. Just coming to a place that's comfortable for your body. So we'll inhale, nice and tall spine, and then exhale, start to fold forward, leading with your chest. Maybe you've got your hands on your feet. Maybe they're on the mat out front of your feet. Just check that you're not curving your spine. It's as straight as you can. Maybe we're smiling, coming into the cooling portion of our practice. You've made it. Great job. Let's walk our hands back inwards, slowly rising up. So we'll bend that left knee, bring the right leg over across the ankle, across the thigh of the left leg if you can. So it's kind of a seated figure four. Straighten that bottom leg as much as you need. So you're kind of sitting tall. You can walk it in if you'd like. Sitting nice and tall. We're going to place our hands behind our back, fingers pointing behind us. Just see if you can lift that chest. Maybe you can lift your gaze. So we'll stretch for the hip flexors. If you'd like, you can take your right hand, place it onto your right knee and use that as a leverage gently to stretch your hips. Otherwise, lead with that chest. We'll start to rise back up, walking your hands back in, uncross that right leg. We'll switch sides. So right heel down to the mat, crossing the left ankle over the right thigh. And then when you're here, fingertips facing behind you, lifting that chest, opening that left hip flexor. Start to straighten back up, uncross that left leg. And we're going to lower back down to our spine. So from here, we're going to come into bridge pose. So what I recommend is with bent knees, walk those heels in close to your fingertips. So arms are flat on the mat. This is usually a good place. And then our inhale, we're going to start to lift our hips out. Imagine that you've got a block between your thighs that you're trying to hold on to. So we're lifting those hips slowly towards the ceiling, core is engaged. And see if you can traction those thighs forward towards your toes to help you lift you just a little bit further. Still holding onto our imaginary block. You might be able to walk yourself up onto your shoulders. Maybe you can interlace your fingers behind your back, whatever's in your practice. Just do what your body needs. Check that you're not pinching your chin into your chest and making your neck uncomfortable. One more breath here. See if you can lift those hips just a little bit higher. If your fingers are interlaced, You can release them and very, very slowly lowering down to the mat. One vertebrae at a time. And let's stretch those legs out nice and long. Arms up and overhead. And then we'll bring the knees in for a hug, wrapping your arms around them, rocking side to side. We're going to come up into bridge one more time. So we'll lower our heels back down to the mat. Get your positioning. Knees bent in the right place for your body, heels on the mat. When you're ready on the inhale, slowly lift your hips up. Again, holding on to our imaginary block, tractioning those thighs forward towards your toes. Core is engaged. So many things to pay attention to. Most importantly, our imaginary block. Last breath here. See if you can lift just a little bit higher. And then we'll come down off our shoulders if we're there. Very slowly again, lowering back down to the mat. As slow as you possibly can. Let's windshield wiper those legs, knees side to side. Then we're going to come into a reclined twist. So we'll let our knees drop out to the right side. You can leave your knees here. If you'd like, you can take that left foot, hook it over the right knee for a deeper twist. Arms can be out to the side if you've got room. We'll look out over our left shoulder. If you don't have room to spread your arms, you can sort of bend them at the elbows. And let's unhook that left knee if you've got it hooked. And we'll start to bring, maybe using your hands, bring the knees back to center. Let them rock side to side for a minute before we drop them out to the left side. So dropping out to the left side. Again, hooking that right foot over the left knee if you'd like. Looking out over your right shoulder. Maybe your eyes are closed. And we'll unhook that right foot. Using our hands to bring our feet back to center. One more big hug. Bring those knees in, wrap the arms around them. Then we'll spread our legs out nice and long for Shavasana. So let your heels come about as wide as the mat, feet falling out to the sides. Arms long down to our sides, palms facing up. Let our feet start to relax. Feel your calves relaxing. Your hips are relaxed. Your spine is melting into the mat. Shoulders are relaxed. Lastly, check your jaw and your forehead. Give your jaw a wiggle if you need to. Check that you're not holding any tension in your face.
And you can stay here as long as you'd like. If you would like to get up, you can roll into your right side now. Slowly find your way into a seated position. Keeping your eyes closed or a soft gaze. We'll bring our hands to our heart center, thanking yourself for making time to practice today, whatever the time of day is for you. Namaste. Just going to stop this recording.